Hello and welcome back. My name is Sean, also known as ChilliChump. It's been a little while since I last updated you on my worm composting or vermicompost, and I was just about to go and feed them inside the worm shed, and I thought I'd take you along to see how they're doing. I must be honest, when I started this new system here with these open tubs, I was a little cautious. I wasn't too sure how well they'd perform. Before I get to those, the noise here, these are my chickens, my other form of compost. They just follow me around everywhere. No, you guys cannot go in and eat the worms. But like I was saying, these bins, I wasn't 100% sure how well they would perform, but they have exceeded expectations. I have never had such good quality vermicompost. Look at this. And the worms are loving it as well. They've been very healthy. It's much easier to maintain the moisture levels and actually let this dry out quite a bit compared to some of the closed systems that I've used in the past. Now, when I put this together, a lot of people were saying I need to drill holes in the side to let moisture out. I haven't done that, and I haven't needed to. This compost, it's a little bit wet down there, but I can let this dry out now for a little while, not add any new moisture, and this will come out perfectly. Let's have a look on this side. You see it's all looking really good. This here is the crumbly stuff. I haven't been feeding this very much at all, and you can see that just looks amazing. Fantastic black gold. And you can see a lot of worms in there. Not as active as the bin that I just showed you, but we still got quite a few in there. I just, like I said, have stopped feeding. There's a few little things like corn cobs. These are quite difficult to finish up, but there are some little worms making their home in there, so I do leave them in. They seem to lay eggs in there sometimes. What do you girls want? Eh? No, you can't come in here. So yeah, this other little experiment that I was running, it worked really well. So I'll link up above to the video where I started this off. Now basically what I did is I wanted to try and get all the worms to come from there to move into this bucket. So I created this bucket with little holes, and as you can see, lots of little worms there. I fed the bucket and all the worms did start coming in here. What happened is, it's obviously been a little while since I did this, and this you can see is just pure compost now. There are a lot of worms in there, but I left it a little bit too long, and obviously the worms then left again. But it does work. The system does work. I think what will work better is a bigger open bin, maybe half the size of this bin with some holes underneath. Feed that, all the worms will go in, and then it leaves this lovely compost left behind. But yeah, this bin's doing really well. We've got so much lovely compost. This is my oldest bin. This is the one I started with, and yeah, this is just beautiful, beautiful. I do feed it every now and then because I haven't yet taken the worms out of here and I don't want them all to die. So I have been feeding it just gently, a little bit here and there. I switch sides, and yeah, there's still some worms in here that are alive. If we dig down deep, we'll see there's quite a few here. But it's quite dry in here at the moment, so they're not going to be thriving. So yeah, these systems are working really, really well. Let's compare this to my worm tower. That's this guy over here. This is my oldest worm bin, and where I started them all off. I've actually just recently fed this one. We've got a lot of worms in here. Obviously all the fresh food is on top. These are far more active, but this is far more moist. You can hear that. If we have a look underneath, you can see that it's still breaking down, and if I go one lower than that, it'll be even more broken down. But yeah, these are doing well. The old meme of a worm and an apple, yeah, they take a lot for the worm to actually get in there. I put in a whole apple, and that's not necessarily doing the job. I think you have to break it up for them to actually get to eating this thing. It still feels very fresh. I mean, this is one from our apple tree. I just wanted to see if the worms would get into it, but obviously you're going to need to break it up, and we'll come back to this at a later stage. I'm sure they'll eat those all up. So let's get to feeding. I've got quite a bit of stuff that I'm going to be feeding it today. I've got some old bananas that I'm going to throw in there. Probably could use these, but they're about to go. And lots of coffee grounds, some cut-offs from some lettuce, and some old pears. They'll love that. And then here, some more coffee grounds. I need to get these stickers out. Some more coffee grounds. We've got some banana peels in there as well, and a bunch of old lettuce and things like that. As you can see, loads and loads of worms in here, so this bin is doing really well. The real trick is always separating the worms from the vermicompost, but I have a plan for that, and I will show you early spring how I'm going to do it. I'm pretty sure these worms will do just fine, and we'll be able to save most of them and keep the bins going. I love how crumbly this stuff is. So I am still feeding these guys because I'm not going to be using this compost until springtime. So there's still probably another 4 or 5 months before this will be put to use. Maybe even a bit longer than that. And this stuff will be eaten up, no problem. They will start eating less and less because it is coming into winter, but they'll still need some food and they will still be quite active, especially here in this shed. The shed does get quite warm during the day, even during winter. So just keep those worms happy and fed, and we're going to get loads of beautiful compost for next season. I am so pleased with how these bins have performed. It's been about a year now and they've been producing a lot of compost. The worms have been reproducing and they're happy. If they weren't, they could climb out of those bins very easily, but they're sticking around and they look healthy. I'm only using scraps from my kitchen. I am supplementing with some used coffee grounds from coffee shops, so Starbucks, things like that. If you go in and ask, they'll be happy to give you their used coffee grounds. But that's the only things that I have been adding. The worms kind of take care of themselves. These worms are still from the first half-pound batch of worms that I got about 5 or 6 years ago as a Valentine's Day gift from my wife. She got me a half-pound bag of worms as well as a worm tower, and honestly it's led to a fantastic hobby. But more so than that, it's led to me creating some amazing compost. It's one of the secrets to me having such massive harvests from my chili plants. I hope that you give vermicomposting a go. It is so easy. You don't have to go as big as I have. You can use a plain old bucket, stick it somewhere that's undercover so you don't get rain getting in there, and you'll be able to get yourself some beautiful vermicompost. And one other little thing that you must remember, the vermicompost is not just about the compost itself. You can use it obviously for flowers, vegetables, chili plants, but you can also make an amazing fertilizer from that. And I do have a video, I'll link it down below, that'll show you how to make your own fertilizer using vermicompost, and it's really, really good stuff. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I better go and feed the chickens a few treats because they're bugging me and pecking my feet. So until the next video, thank you so much for watching and stay spicy.